I am Marie of Historical Belle, and today I'm going to show you how I made my husband's medieval fantasy-inspired wedding tunic that he wore to our medieval times themed rehearsal dinner. While researching what medieval brides and grooms wore, I came across this image and I drew some historical inspiration from it. As you can see, the bride and the groom are both wearing a deep blue color. So I made Stephen's tunic to match the dress I had already made for myself. To make his tunic, I used this McCall's costume pattern. It is pattern 3658. It's a really fun and easy pattern. It is out of print though. I've had it in my stash a long time. As you can see, it came out in 2002. I didn't even know how to sew then, but when I went to the fabric stores and they had pattern sales, my mom would let me pick out some, and obviously I thought this looked like a cool pattern. At the time I thought, oh, we could make this for my dad to wear for like Halloween when I'm like a little princess, because I was like a princess every year for Halloween. But my dad does not enjoy dressing up, and I ended up using this for my husband, which is really funny that I had this in 2002 and then the first time I ever use it is to make my husband a tunic for our rehearsal dinner. I used the same velvet that I used for my dress. It is this beautiful blue velvet, and it's the first time I've ever worked with true velvet instead of like crushed velvet, which is so much cheaper. I decided to do this tunic in a shorter version. I didn't want it to go all the way to his ankles, rather we're just going to like the knees, so folded that pattern piece up there. It was really easy to fold this up and make sure that the front piece matched with the back piece, because there's actually a fold line where they're like, hey, if you would like to make the short version, fold here. This tunic was so easy to make because it just has two pieces and there's no darts. There's just shoulder seams and side seams, and that's it. I had not made something this simple in so long, and it was so nice and refreshing to do a simple project, especially after making my wedding dress, which is probably, well, no, definitely the most involved project that I have ever made. So to have something that just had like 4 seams that were all straight was very nice. But of course I can't have this be too simple. This is his rehearsal dinner tunic after all. Gotta spice it up a little bit. So I decided to add some embroidery to it. Here I am cutting out the backing, but then I also decided to put some quote-unquote backing on the front as well, because this is velvet. It does have a nap to it. Sometimes the embroidery can kind of like go down into the weave and get all weird and icky when you have, I guess, more plush fabric. So I put a tearaway backing on the back, and then on the front I put water soluble type of backing, and then I decided to put a dragon on the front, and this is going to be a gold dragon because blue and gold look fantastic together, very royal. This dragon is a preset design that's already in my brother embroidery machine. So I literally just tapped it and then placed it, made it as big as I want, and then just hit the button and let it go. As you can see here, I am just using gold, but it kind of looks like there's a lighter gold and a darker gold. It's actually all the same gold thread. It's just different stitches, which make it have a different sheen, which I think is really cool. So here is the finished embroidered dragon on the front of his tunic. I'm very excited and I think he's going to absolutely love it. But now I have to get the backing off. The tearaway backing, super easy, it just tears off. The water soluble fronting, it's going to be a little bit more difficult because I don't want to just like submerge my velvet in water, but I had a plan. I also was afraid to iron the velvet because whale. If you iron it wrong, you can totally mess it up. And I was just afraid to touch it with an iron at all. So I thought I will steam iron this. And I thought the steam would take off all of the fronting, but it did not. So I had to squirt it with a water bottle a couple times. But I mean, it's not bad. Just little spurts and then steamed it all off. Worked actually really well. And then I decided the rest of everything else needed to be steamed too, because velvet does wrinkle. Now it's time to actually do some sewing. So we're going to attach the front of the tunic to the back of the tunic. And as I was saying before, this is so easy. It is just 4 straight seams at the shoulders and at the sides. Now everything needs to be hemmed and finished, but to do this, I decided I wanted to add trim as well. So as I hemmed it, I also added trim to the neckline and then also to the sleeves. And I used this beautiful gold braid trim that really matched the dragon. I have zero historical evidence for the dragon embroidery and or this trim. Pretty much the most historical things that we have going for us right now are velvet, even though I'm sure this velvet is probably not the same as medieval velvet. We have different looms, we have different manufacturing processes. The trim also not historical. But I have seen things where there are trims on necklines and sleeves, right, from Middle Ages. And embroidery. Not like dragon and center front of tunic necessarily. I feel like that is a very hardcore fantasy version of medieval ages, because we see that a lot at like medieval times or medieval shows where they have those things, which I assume have to be based on at least something, but I didn't find any in the drawings that I came up with. Also, if you're more interested in some of the historical inspiration that I drew, you can go back and watch the making of my dress, where I talk a little bit more about the history and provide a few more links. I also decided to go back and add this beautiful green velvet ribbon trim to the bottom of the tunic, because the top was trimmed but then there was nothing on the bottom, and I felt like it just needed a little something. And then this is also the same green velvet ribbon trim that I put on the front of my dress, so we're matching even more, which I absolutely love. So here it is, the finished tunic. He accented it with a belt, white shirt, and crown. At this point, I realized I accidentally made a Prince Ferdinand cosplay, which is pretty funny. He looks so much like Snow White's prince. Here is a side-by-side of how our outfits turned out versus the original inspiration from that medieval manuscript. We had so much fun at our rehearsal dinner.
To your left to a new lady.
How do you do that?
Literally, Mom. Okay, so go back to the right. To the left. Back to the right. Gentlemen, jump straight up. Ladies, jump straight up. Gentlemen, hop 3 times to the left. Ladies, jump straight up here. Gentlemen, jump. Ladies, hop over 2 more. How many hops do we have to do?
Cat of Atlanta Historic Dance, as a wedding gift to us, taught us some dances of the time. The first one we did was 2 peas in a pod. That's the one with the jumping. And then this one that we're doing here is called the Washerwoman's Brannel. Again, lots of fun. Even the people who don't normally enjoy dancing had fun with this. Thank you so much for watching. Again, I'm Marie of Historical Belle. If you are one of my returning subscribers, thank you so much for being here. And if you're new, please go ahead and hit that subscribe button. I would love for you to join the Historical Belle Society. Until next time, I hope you have wonderful sewing adventures. If you are interested in seeing more of Historical Belle, I also have an Instagram, I have a Facebook, and I have a Ko-fi if you would like to support me in that way. Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye!